Hey folks, thanks for joining our Monday Mindshare again. And again, we'll continue to have our athletes coming out of Kona and now Utah come into the show and talk us a little bit about their experience. Today we have Claudio Avila from Mexico joining us. So thanks for joining us, buddy.
Glad to be here. Thanks, Leighton.
Yeah, no problem. And when did you get home from Utah?
Got back on Sunday, so right the day after.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No rest, huh?
None, just until Monday.
Yeah, going back to college for your rest, huh?
Yeah, it was rough. Class at 7 a.m.
Oh wow, that's pretty serious. Well, hey, it's awesome to catch up with you, and we're gonna get into the race. But obviously a chilly day on the bike, no doubt.
Yeah, coming out of transition, well, coming out of the water, it was when you take the wetsuit off, you could actually feel the chill.
Yeah.
But I guess just the adrenaline just kind of like suppressed the cold. And then, yeah.
But I think the ladies might have it even a little bit cooler, right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. We were about, like, before going into the water, we were at 7 degrees,
right,
I think, Celsius. And I think the girls were at 4 or 3.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, they really had it a lot worse.
That's rough. Yeah. Well, hey, let's step back and just go back to your qualifying race, and maybe we can have a chat about your preparations, your training leading into Utah. Which race did you qualify, and when was that?
I qualified on November last year in 70.3 Monterey. I got, I think, first in my age group.
All right, nice.
7th overall. Yeah.
Wow. And what time did you get done there?
It was 4:18.
Wow.
Yeah.
And just talk, I don't know if you still remember, but your swim, bike, run times in that race?
Oh, well, the swim's never really that great, but it was about a 35.
Okay. The
bike was close to 216, 217. Wow. And the run was a 123.
Wow, that's solid. Yeah. You're still a young guy, see? So you can do this.
Getting there. I'm still getting there.
Have you, what was your background? Were you a swimmer, biker, or runner, or?
I was actually a soccer player.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
there you go.
all the time. Yeah.
So you're probably fast runner than a track runner.
Oh, not really, actually. It's been rough, the run, actually.
Yeah.
But, my rehab from soccer, I had an injury, which is what actually took me out of soccer.
Right.
Was just running and running and running.
Yeah.
Without really ever knowing how to run.
Right.
So I just said, oh, I'm going to do a 5K every single day as hard as I can.
Right.
Yeah, like definitely no intensity distribution, but I just did it. And yeah, the run was at least what kind of got me into triathlon. Yeah. And the swim, because I had a back injury, so a lot of prehab was in the water. So
okay, so 418, right? You said?
Yeah,
418, and that was that in 21, or is that, did you, because of COVID, have some type of timing?
That was 21.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was exactly like 4 weeks after 2021 70.3 World Champs.
Okay. And you were going into that race with the whole intent to qualify to go to Worlds, or just happened?
Actually, I wasn't really that sure. I wasn't even sure that I was going to race. They told us that the race was going to happen like 3 weeks before. So I had finished 70.3 World Champs, and I thought, oh yeah, off season.
Yeah.
And then I got the email that we were actually going to race. So I took it easy 1 week, and then just kind of grinded 2 more weeks of speed work, and then just
ready to go.
Yeah, once again.
Looks like it worked well. It was a great prep session.
Yeah.
And so like from then to, obviously you did some further racing in 22, but then the race itself, let's chat a bit about your prep going into Utah. You know, biggest weeks in terms of volume load, what was kind of the big volume weeks?
In summer, I began an altitude block here in St. Louis. So we were at about 2,000 meters above sea level.
Okay.
Didn't do a lot of volume. I just really wanted to like get back into the rhythm. I was doing more like a polarized like distribution, and also took advantage of doing like focusing more on the low carb.
Right.
And I was doing there about 16 hours a week,
Okay.
17, mainly focusing on the run and on the bike.
Okay.
Swim was a bit hard, but I was still trying to get about 8 to 10,000 meters a week. And then as I progressed, I went to PTO Dallas, and that I was already gaming there at about 21 to 22 hours a week.
Okay.
And I was already moving into like a more pyramidal method, like on the bike, like doing 70.3 developmental sessions about above 70.3 power.
Okay.
Like a lot more tempo. So I did that for about 4 weeks before PTO, and then came back from PTO, had about 5 weeks in between races. And there I focused a bit more on like 70.3 sims with like St. George on mine. So like
okay,
harder bricks, a bit of a longer bricks, but more closer to my run, to my race pace. And then towards the end, like the last 2 weeks before St. George, I really focused on that speed because I really thought I was going for a better time, but yeah, I wanted to like get more speed before going into it.
Yeah. Now you're part of the endure.iq squad, and obviously done some of the endure.iq courses, it sounds like.
Yeah, I've done LET 104, LET 102, and LET 101.
Okay. So I know, yeah, you're saying earlier you're a med student. Obviously, as a med student and all of the anatomy and physiology, it must be pretty fascinating jumping into the LDT courses and really getting into the detail of that.
I actually began the courses when I was still in high school, like during COVID.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's kind of what got me into med school.
Oh, there you go. You should tell Dan that. He'll be rapt to hear that. That's cool.
Yeah. And every time I have like a class that kind of like gets close to something we see in endure.iq, I get really excited because like, oh, finally I'm like learning something that I can do in triathlon. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, and I know you've been working with on the SFuels product. We'll talk about your racing. I mean, your race at Utah in a second. We'll get into how you fueled there. But did you come from prior to endure.iq and SFuels, you were like everyone else, high carb, more classical approach?
Yeah. I mean, in Mexico, mainly everything is high carb.
Yeah.
Like, it's what's taught. It's what everybody does. It's what, I mean, whether you do a sprint distance, an Ironman, or you're just a cyclist, everybody just says, oh, you got to eat carbs all the time.
Right.
And I did do that my first 2 years of triathlon. Didn't really have any issues, but I don't know. I just saw that as I went longer, it was harder to just keep fueling that way.
Yeah, get it right. Yeah.
And it was just so hard to think about, how am I going to cram 100 grams of carbs for 4 hours?
Yeah.
I don't know how. So I when I saw that Dan did 8 hours 24 in Kona, and then he did it on 60 grams per hour, I was like, oh, well, that's much easier, I think.
Yeah.
That just makes much more sense.
Right.
And I saw the course, LDT 101. So I went into that, and that's when I decided to switch to 70.3. And all of my 70.3s have basically been done on low carb.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, I think it's interesting. I have a feeling for a lot of triathletes that move out of Olympic distance into 70.3 and Ironman that for I think a lot of athletes, that doesn't dawn on them until in the race that the model that you used in a Olympic distance doesn't naturally just convert
It
to a
just doesn't
longer.
switch.
It
No,
doesn't.
and I mean,
Um,
I get really weird faces here in Mexico when it's race week and everybody's just cramming carbs.
right.
And I'm like, I don't know, having yogurt with keto 3 for breakfast and just having like, I don't know, broiled vegetables for dinner or something like that. And they're just eating carbs and carbs and carbs. And they're like,
Right.
hell, it's race week. You should be like
Yeah.
carving up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's funny because when we were working with Zach Bitter on his attempt to go after the 100-mile world record on the treadmill, um, we were he'd been keto low carb for a long time, but there's always a lot of kind of question about losing top end or losing speed. And that day when he set the world record, I think he had 13 serves over the 11 hours. And when you math, and I think he had a packet of like potato chips somewhere in the 11-hour period also. But when you worked it all out, he was sub 50 grams and he was sub 7-minute miles for 11 hours. And yeah, it's possible. Absolutely.
yeah.
So anyway, well, hey, yeah, it's really good. I think your time there at Utah, it's a tough course, right? Maybe tell us about your kind of point of view on the Utah course.
I mean, it's definitely a leg breaker. It's really, really hard to have a rhythm. But on the bike, I don't know. I had a really tough swim. Like I had cramps during the swim, like on my legs. So I had a really big deficit to my age group.
Right.
And on the bike, well, that's actually where my strength is. And curiously, I didn't cramp up that hard during the bike, so I could actually ride my power. And so the bike is kind of weird. I mean, you grab a lot of rhythm on the downhills if you have a big chain ring. Like if I had a 55.
Yeah. Okay.
And the ups, if you have a power meter and you just keep looking at the power meter, it should be very stable.
Yeah.
Which is actually what I think people kind of mess up on this course. Like they hit down the uphills very, very hard, and maybe they don't have a power meter and they just chill on downs. But I mean, I had practice during training, like very sustained power on very like consistent power. So I just kept the power the same on the ups and on the downs. So that's how I got through the bike. Like the bike was pretty steady, I think. The run is where it just goes downhill, I think. I mean, it's quite literally.
Literally, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, my strategy last year for the same course, well, not the same course, but kind of, is just first lap has to be easy. I mean, first lap has to be very, very easy. And then you can kind of on the third 5K, like the uphill, that's just a 5K best effort because the rest is just downhill. But yeah, if you don't pace that first 10K well, it's just going to go really, really wrong the last 10.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because we were there in May watching the full worlds, and yeah, you could absolutely, I mean, it's like obviously double that again, but I mean, it was just so obvious those who had just burnt so many matches on the first lap, and the second it was a matter of survival kind of thing.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. What was your fueling on the bike and on the run? Like what kind of carbs per hour? I assume you're using the Race Plus products.
I was doing about 70 grams per hour.
Yeah.
So that was like, how many servings? It was like 7 servings of Race Plus on the bottle, and just diluted that into the front bottle.
Right.
So that was pretty simple.
Yeah.
I mean, you just like take a sip, but maybe just put it all into the the front hydration.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really wanted to get my hands into the Race Plus gel because that's what I had used for my qualifying race. Because I don't like taking the whole gel at the same time.
Yeah, right.
Whole time. So like the bullet is just, you can take half and then put it back into your pocket.
Yeah, we get a lot of that feedback. We had Raymond last week did Kona, and he was saying exactly the same thing. Just knowing where you're at, how much you've had, and how much you got left.
And then the fact that you can like pick how much concentration you want in the bullet.
Right.
Like, you can have either 20 grams, 40 grams, 60 grams, how much you want on the bullet. So
yeah.
Because the gel, like the Race Plus gel, is for training is just awesome. Like for like really long bricks, I like the gel.
Yeah, I see Dan's using it more and more for his bricks also. He was telling us the other day. So yeah, that's good. Good. So where did you finish place-wise in your age group in the end, Claudio?
With the same, I got 42nd.
Wow.
That's
cool.
I mean, it sounds like a huge number, like 42nd.
But there's how much minutes was between first and 42nd?
Not that much. I mean, it's like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
With 40s. And then the competition this year was huge.
Yeah, Hawaii in May, it was like in June for the 70.3 there was 5 minutes for the first 8 of us. So there's nothing in it.
No, absolutely nothing.
But so yeah, 70.3 have obviously dialed these really well. I'm sure you'll continue to do a few of those, but I hear there's talk about looking at the big kahuna and the full Ironman.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to do one this year, but I felt like I still had a long way to go in 70.3. And I'm actually really glad that I stayed in 70.3 this year.
Yeah.
But next year in April, I'm going to full Ironman in Texas finally.
Okay. What was your decision process to kind of think about the times right? Because you're still a young athlete. How are you thinking about that?
I was thinking mainly about I really should focus on 70.3. Like I still have a lot of speed and like develop this metabolic pathway. But then during training, especially for 70.3 worlds, I started seeing that my high aerobic zone 2 power was pretty good, like for like sustained 4.5 hours, 5 hours, was getting pretty good with 30 to 40 grams per hour.
Yeah, right.
So I was just chilling on the air bars at like 200 watts for 4 hours.
Okay.
With like really low heart rate, still below LT1. And I was like, oh, this could be Ironman pace. Like I could even like go a little higher and it could still kind of be Ironman pace. And then I had some brick runs, like easy zone 2 brick runs where I was doing 4 minutes 20 per K.
Yeah, okay.
And still below 145 heart rate.
Okay.
Which is LT1 for me.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, well, I mean, this is not a full marathon yet. I mean, I'm running 8Ks off the bike.
Yeah.
But
still.
I don't know. I just started seeing that my zones, like my equivalent Ironman pace zones, were developing a lot. So, and I thought that when every single time that I see these improvements in these zones, I have a lot more room, like at the top end. So I thought if I have like a really good Ironman training block, I think that could only just help my 70.3.
Right.
Yeah.
So why you chose Texas, you say?
Yeah.
So is that just a proximity thing or
kind of, yeah. I saw some fast times. I saw that the weather is humid, kind of warm. I don't love the heat, but it's, I live in a warm place, so
Right.
definitely it wouldn't affect me.
Right.
And then it's close, and it's April. I mean, April is a really good time for me. It's
Okay.
just a really good time because I have like a lot of momentum from January, which is normally when I start my season.
Yeah. Right. So I don't know if you've looked at some of the finishing times for your age group there in Texas. Any kind of feeling on a range projection wise, what you think?
Yeah, I mean, looking at the race times, um, I can see myself in the top three.
Wow.
With what I've seen from training and how my competitors run. Actually,
Yeah, right.
they have really good bikes, but on the run, I can actually see the splits. So I can see their first 15Ks are like blistering fast, and then the 25s are just, I
Collapse.
mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, it's just that's the magic, right? Of
yeah,
strong
going along.
finishes, right? Yeah, good metabolic engine. So oh, that's great. Oh, that sounds awesome. Well, you got a big year ahead, and obviously your studies are going well, and I'm sure more of what Dan's been talking about will surface in the studies and things.
Yeah.
How does like winter for you? What's typical? Like, how do you keep your body composition, some level of fitness, right, but still kind of back off a bit? What's typical?
So I do up the carbs a little bit because it makes like school life a little easier. I
Yeah,
don't have to
right.
like cook as much, but I do focus on staying on the right fuel, right time.
Yeah,
Yeah, if I'm gonna have more carbs, at least have them at the right time.
right. Have some higher intensity sessions around it.
Yeah, around
Yeah.
them as well. So I mainly go back to a polarized method.
Okay.
So that I have like really good long, well, kind of long. I don't go too long during the winter, and I stay like really low carb during those longs, and then have moderate amount of carb after. But then I also have some high intensity to like
Yeah.
keep fueling that high metabolic pathway. And then I focus mainly on technique and all of my on all of my like disciplines. So a lot of gym work, a lot of functional
Yeah.
strengthening,
Yeah.
and then towards the end of winter, I start like doing some testing, not a whole lot, but just trying to get like a baseline of where I'm at and where to start at.
Have you done any metabolic cart tests?
No, not yet. In Mexico is it's hard to know
Hard to
where.
get. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but
There
I've
is actually in Texas, there's quite a few, and in fact, some of the ambassadors and connections with SFuels work in the University of Texas, the A&M group there. If you want some connections there, just let us know. I'll team you
definitely.
up. Yeah.
I think it'd be very interesting to see that before the Ironman, like
Yeah.
next
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, just reach out offline and I'll try to connect you into that. What about just finally any kind of equipment thinking changes as you go from 22 to 23, or same bike, same shoes, same everything?
I think I'm pretty dialed right now, actually. It took a long time. I've been building up my bike slowly and my gear and everything. And I think right now I'm super comfortable on the bike.
What are you using?
Run. I'm on a Speed Max, actually.
Okay.
I've just moved to the
Okay.
left.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
Speed
Right.
Max and the air bars. That's actually the only thing I've moved this year. And yeah,
You on the
it's
zip wheels there.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I have the 858 on the front.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's actually a friend's, but she lent me it. And
Works
then
even better when it's your friend's wheel, right?
yeah, you just say like I have to go faster with these. And then the disc wheel, yeah, that I also got that this year. So
Cool. Well, good. And any dreams, the Kona?
definitely.
Yeah.
That's actually I'm trying to calm down like before going to Texas because it's easy to have like very high expectations.
Yeah. Right.
and get very, very anxious or very nervous around it.
Yeah.
But I'm very optimistic with what I saw on the training block before St. George. So yeah, I mean, I definitely could see a Kona Q in
That's
Ironman.
cool. Well, good for you. It's just awesome to have a chat with you and see that it's going well. Your progression's been just amazing to watch, and going from strength to strength. You got some big plans for next year. So we're in your corner, bud. And if there's any way we can help, let us know. And we're happy to keep partnering with you.
Thank you so much. The support is amazing this
All
year.
right. Well, thanks for joining the team, and look forward to you remaining with the team in 23. And we'll catch up soon, folks. Thanks for joining our Monday Mindshare again, and listening to Claudio's experience there in Utah, and the plans for 23. And I'm sure you'll get behind him too, as we will, as we go into the new year. Thanks again. Talk soon. See you later. Bye.